Forward. All right. Think we're rolling. Welcome everyone to our State Advisory Committee meeting for Advanced to Apprenticeship for December 2025. Thank you all for being here today. Happy holidays. I know probably this meeting and a few others or not are between you and your holidays. So enjoy your time off and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching on the replay if you're not here with us live. Of course, we are going to talk about Advanced to Apprenticeship and all that's been going on now that it is in official sustainability under MACNY's leadership. SCDD has continued to provide supplemental support for recruitment, training, and assistance. And in the Mohawk Valley, MACNY is continuing to host cohorts, while in the Rochester area, RTMA, the Rochester Technology Manufacturing Association, has begun to host cohorts leading both inclusive pre-apprenticeship programs of Advanced to Apprenticeship and Real Life Rosies. So today we're going to highlight all the great work that has happened over the last quarter. So we're talking September to December, and SCD will officially pass the baton to each regional partner in the new year to continue hosting advisory meetings. As many of you know, Marilee Boylan is no longer with Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities, and I have officially become the new Director of Employment Programs for the Strong Center. Today, I am joined by my colleague, Pat Dowse, who is a MACNY consultant. I am joined by Shauna, who's the Director of BOCES 2, Center for Workforce Development in Rochester, New York. I'm joined by Kay, who is MACNY's pre-apprenticeship manager. And we know quite a few of our colleagues are on vacation and such. So I'm trying to open my screen to make sure I'm not missing anyone. We have Franca in the building who helped to design this model from the very beginning in 2023. Leslie is here. Leslie is with the Center for Workforce Development. She is, I want to make sure I say it correctly, the Workforce Development Coordinator. So we're all happy to be here today and to share information. So first up, Center for Workforce Development. So we are in our final semester with the push-in design under our Council on Developmental Disabilities funding. We were able to support enrollment of one student into welding and within the fall semester, and he's doing very well in his program and he's enjoying it overall. He already had plans and are working towards them to ensure he is in the machining program in the spring. And he is focused on his goals of completing both welding and machining to be more marketable for employers. And after that, potentially advancing his position with his current employer. So SCDD will continue to support career for workforce development programs and provide assistance with resources and recruitment for all of their higher education programs. I have Leslie, who's going to talk about a new program.
Yes, hello. I'm happy to be invited. Thank you, Brandy, for inviting me to talk about our Access VR pre-ETS Career Launch Bootcamp. We actually started talking to Brandy, I don't know, about a year ago or so before I came. I've only been on board for about 2 months, so I'm very new to it, but this is my main program. It is for graduated, eligible, and pre-eligible Access VR students who are enrolled in post-secondary institutions. So we had hoped to start in the spring, but we're still waiting for State Ed to send us our official contract, our executed contract. So we have postponed our start date until the summer. We're going to run this as a boot camp, and it is going to run for the month of July on Mondays and Thursdays from 8 to 11:30. Our focus for this Access VR program is careers in construction and manufacturing, and we do hope to expand that in future contracts. But for now, that's where our focus is because of the huge need for both of those industries in our area. As part of this program, we wrote in that we are going to do work keys, and we hope to, through support, get all the students to have an NCRC certification through work from work keys. They are going to get Ocean 10, and we're hoping to do that live in person and hands-on experiences in construction and manufacturing. We are planning to have initially hire two instructors. One is works for us and has worked for CWD, our adult program, for I don't know, quite a few years. And he's done welding, he's done machining, he has experience in construction trades as well. He's in our building trades program. He has both sides of those skills. And so he will be the instructor for the CT programs, the career training. And then we are looking to either have a transition specialist, a special ed teacher, or a counselor for the second part. There are three pieces to the curriculum. So we're focusing again on the CT curriculum that I already explained. They will be working on employability skills and work-related skills. And the third pillar will be academic. So that's going to be assessed through the work keys. And we are really excited. We're planning for the employment side of it and the employment exposure piece, we did not write that in our XSVR pre-ETS program contract. So we are going to collaborate with DePaul. They are going to do the employment preparation in July. So the students will have up to 10 hours of employment preparation with them, that we will also be hitting on some of those skills through our career launch program. And then in August, we're hoping that they'll have the opportunity to do 30 hours of an internship. We are looking for funding currently to Summer is a big time where students get the opportunity to work and help their community, help their family, and also save and so we know it'll be hard for some students to be able to give up this much time in the summertime. So we are seeking support funding to hopefully be able to pay at least minimum wage for these hours that these students are working. And so we are looking at United Way has a summer program grant, so we're looking to apply for that. And then we have some other community and workforce development funding sources that we'll be exploring as well. So that is our Access VR Pre-ETS program that we're offering at CWD.
Nice.
NCRC, I see there was a question about NCRC. So Work Keys is one of the few, it's an ACT test. So that is one of the few tests that actually measures your employability. So there are three tests to it. One is applied math. And obviously it's math related to industries. So it has some algebra, it has a little bit of geometry, maybe a little bit of algebra too, if you get to the levels are 1 to 7. And to achieve an NCRC, which means National Career Readiness,
Credential.
thank you. I appreciate that. You have to get a level 3 on all three of the tests. So again, there's the math, and then there's a graphic literacy, which is reading diagrams and making conclusions from those diagrams. And then there's a literacy one that is called workplace documents. And that is really looking at a series of documents. It could be emails, it could be Excel spreadsheets, and then also making conclusions that you would have to do in the business world. We're going to be talking about our advanced apprenticeship through the Rosie's program is going to be talked about. And we actually had some really good success, even some students that didn't have high school diplomas that with the support were able to achieve some pretty high levels of the NCRC. So they were getting golds and not even having high school diplomas. But it shows our employers that they are work ready just because even if they don't have that opportunity. Yeah, and Shauna just said it's the ACT Work Keys National Career Readiness Certificates. So. Hopefully that answers your question. Is there any other questions that happened in the chat?
So is it similar to the National Work Readiness Credential?
I believe so. I believe so. It's based on some of that, but WorkKeys itself is kind of going industry specific versus just academic kind of stuff. And what Leslie talks about is really cool in the sense that it doesn't stop someone who was unsuccessful in completing their high school diploma, since the high school has a way of what it needs to do based on stated expectations. And this has now become more industry driven. It's hands on. It's practical. It fits that learning style for the individual that wasn't able to sit in the classroom and do a test. They're actually going to be supported through WorkKeys to see the practicality and the connections and why it makes sense. So yeah, for the people that you be working with, Jessica, I think WorkKeys would be a really nifty tool to evaluate. And if you'd like help from you said or Macney, we'd be happy to work with you. That's the value of this meeting, is to kind of let you know what we've been up to and who's been up to what, and then figure out how to play it together. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
and Jessica, just
Thank
to
you.
add what Pat said, is that every career is aligned as a profile in their profile section. So they'll tell you, what do you need to get on the math to actually be ready for an entry level position in that career.
So if
So
Awesome.
people are familiar with career assessment inventory, CAIs, where you actually do interests, right? This
Mhm.
takes it to the next level where you kind of, now you have, your interests, but now they're going to tell you what is it that you need to have so that you can build an education plan for the person that is interested in that career, which then sets the stage for the business saying, oh, so you really do know something about, maybe I will. And it's the perfect genre from my perspective as a pre-apprenticeship to an apprenticeship, because we're convincing without question. I'm watching Franca giving me lots of positive nods, because this is what her whole career has been around, is showing them how we can take them along a pathway. And we weren't typically doing that with students that had challenges to learning. It was more just the guys and gals that were ready to like sit and do it and whatnot. Now these tools are there. So we're excited that Monroe has figured out how to play that out. We anticipate, not hope, we anticipate they're going to be broadcasting and bragging to all the other BOCES programs about how to use this similar tool in their education process, because I think it'll make a huge difference for kids that have learning disabilities, difficulties, and differences, all those wonderful D words that we try to get rid of and stay on the positive. So, Franca, did you have any other thoughts on WorkKeys? No? Okay.
I think that
Thank you,
that's it.
Leslie. Oh, I'm sorry. Mhm.
Oh, I was just going to say, I thank all of you for inviting me to be here.
Thank you for being here and thank you for sharing that great information. We definitely plan to continue to promote and, support as it grows. Pat, you want to talk a little bit about our direct entry pre-apprenticeship training?
Sure. This is just a reminder. We've got some new faces joining us today, and recurring faces. So we're excited for you to make sure you know the gist here. In the past, we've really only talked about A2A because that's what the project was all about. But now that we're all working together, we actually have Advanced to Apprenticeship, which is the direct entry program approved by the Department of Labor in 2024 to support individual learners with and without disabilities, and offering them all the supports that they need. Real Life Rosies, you've maybe heard before, but it is the program that's targeting women in manufacturing, all walks, all kinds. So now we're really supporting all genders in our program, and MACNY is committed to that. They both run a 12-week program. We call them cohorts. It's fun, some of the new language that I've learned since I've been working with colleges. They're not just classes and sessions, they're cohorts. Kind of cool. And so they're individuals into entry-level positions, as it says there, with the anticipation of being offered a job in a registered apprenticeship. What I think is important for all of you to remember, and I was this many years old when I first learned it, just the last meeting, is that everybody isn't going directly into a registered apprenticeship job when they finish this program. It is anticipated that they will have the opportunity to sit for an interview for at least 3 to 4 businesses. That's part of the commitment that the business makes and being part of looking at this as a workforce development opportunity for them. But all of the businesses are committed to looking at offering someone a job. If that job then leads them further on into being able to take on the registered apprenticeship job that that business offers, all the better. That's what we're all about, is trying to make that happen in that way. But everyone that participates in advanced apprenticeship and real life Rosies presently in the cohorts we have, and as we expand across the state, that's the ultimate goal, is registered apprenticeship, but all of them are offered a position. And what's really important for our state partners to know is that the MACNY Alliance partners are committed to continuing to support them in their job search. So should this not be what they want, because remember, direct entry is about learning and discovery and exploring and figuring out what your strengths and your challenges may be, so that we can do that. The commitment of the project all the way along is to get someone a job that is going to help them support themselves independently as they can. So while registered apprenticeship is the ultimate goal, it is really a career pathway that we're creating. So it's even more exciting to watch how we thought we were just going to work with the Manufacturing Alliance partners of MACNY, but we actually built a really neat partnership with Monroe 2 BOCES, and we're looking at others. We have some other supports and services that we're doing along the way, especially with the workforce boards. I see my friend Alan Gallagher, who introduced us all to Scion and to the disability resource coordinators, who become a really important part of this process. They are the connection to the workforce centers that provide all the benefits planning and other workforce supports that they might need. They get, like I said, 4 interviews with employer partners, and we've sweetened the deal a little bit in respect to how we go across the state, and they can have up to as much as $1,500 in work incentive pay as they meet milestones. Let's see, what else did I leave out of there? Oh, the tutoring. Tutoring is a huge piece, and sometimes it's also what we struggle with. So we are letting you know this piece. So if you know of people that are interested in your area, or if you have another project where you're working with other people, we can get some other kinds of supports. We're not walking away from the ability in this project, because the funding that has been, and I'll let Kay talk to this a little bit later, but the funding that MACNY got from the Empire Development Association actually speaks to continuing to have a form of state advisory capacity. So we would like to invite all of you to stay with the project as it continues under MACNY's leadership, directly with all of the rest of us supporting them in a state way. So Brandy and I would certainly still be on the advisory capacity to support, and we hope you too will see the value in staying with that. Next slide.
Thank you, Pat. All right, let's see here. Uh-oh, hold on. Doesn't want to advance. There we go. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Shauna, feel free to jump in, but this slide is all about real life Rosies coming to Rochester in the middle of the night and being able to take advantage of the established partnership with the Center for Workforce Development and bringing the direct entry model into Rochester. So Real Life Rosies was held from September to December. There were 14 people who started the class, and there were 11 who were actually Real Life Rosies, which Pat explained, we're targeting women, but really it is for everybody. And 3 were actually advanced to apprenticeship students. So it was a little bit of a hybrid class, but definitely more Real Life Rosies, and just in terms of the framework with the name, right? Because the details of what they do in the curriculum is essentially the same. So the program was successful. There were 6 out of 12 students who were able to complete their certified manufacturing associate, and 7 of those students completed the ACT work keys, 5 of them being awarded that national credential. At a bronze level, there were 3 people. There were 3 at a silver level, and then there were 2 at a gold. So that was a very exciting, quick creation of a program, but our TMA and their pre-apprenticeship manager, Ruth, was really able to take charge and make that happen. Shauna, do you want to add anything about it?
I don't think so. I think you captured all the highlights. I think it was
Thank you,
just neat
thank
to,
you. I
yeah, I think it
tried.
was just neat to see them. Yeah, I think they were proud, and it's neat to see them, interested in the field and choosing other classes in some cases and continuing on. So, no, we really enjoyed hosting them.
Awesome. And so Real Life Rosies was able to operate within Center for Workforce Development, also with the support of Rochester Workforce Supportive Services, and on their Tuesday, Thursday night class structure. RTMA was also able to bring in Advanced to Apprenticeship, which started in November. And it started at the Forward Center, which is a part of Monroe Community College downtown area. But they changed it up a little bit and did a Monday through Friday course structure, which was able to move the students along a lot quicker. So the classes were intensive, but also continue to have that universal learning design. We all were able to work together to support a student who actually is hard of hearing and needed interpretation services. So all hands were on deck to make sure that tools were used from AI, from Otter AI on an additional device that he was able to have from Rochester Works, working together, pulling in interpreters, and really having a critical conversation with the community college about what those expectations are around students who are in programs like these versus what they do for students who are fully matriculated. So all in all, Advanced to Apprenticeship went very well. The graduation happened earlier this month. There were graduates who earned their certified manufacturing associate along with that OSHA 10 safety credentials. And ultimately, those essential manufacturing skills were able to be put to use as they got opportunities to interview with different businesses and tour with them as well. One student was offered a position, and we're waiting to hear back about the rest of the students and all of their employment journeys. So all in all, our strong collaborations with local organizations really helped to fuel program growth and the community impact in just 3 months. So next up, in the Rochester area, Advanced to Apprenticeship will be launching again in January at the Forward Center. And in February, Real Life Rosies will be jumpstarting again in at the Center for Workforce Development. So we're very excited for both of those opportunities. There will be an email that goes out with those flyers for your information and to be able to share. And yes, I think I did all of Ruth bits. Anything that I missed, team? All right. So Mohawk Valley, Kay, take it away.
Thank you very much. So, another successful or two successful cohorts in the Mohawk Valley. Our advanced apprenticeship was in Rome this year or this fall, and we started in September. It's has just concluded, wrapping up on the 11th, but we did some interviews and we're still working with some of the members of the cohort in regards to finding positions. Overall, we had 17 enrolled, and I'm just double checking my numbers on the other screen. We have had many people be offered jobs already out of the cohort, which is great. We have some that have been asked back for second interviews in local manufacturers. Same true for our Real Life Rosies that started September 15th, MVCC in Utica. And that has wrapped up, and we're just, again, still working with the cohorts for employment. We did have 12 people enrolled. One of them required a Spanish interpreter, so we're really happy to help that happen for them. Just really two great groups this year, just really engaged and desire to really learn. One of the women, I'll just share this, was previously employed with a manufacturer, and the manufacturer closed, and so she entered the program and completed it and went on, and instead of being in an entry-level position in a manufacturer in Utica where she actually got a job with Indium as a team lead. So she actually was able to get a job after being laid off, and get an advancement. So really nice to see that opportunity happen for her and especially with her enthusiasm.
Okay, can I ask a question just so everybody,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
age range of the people that we're seeing in these cohorts, are they coming right out of high school? Are we kind of seeing a mix? What's the oldest? Just to give everybody perspective on when we first started this, a lot of them were younger, under the age of 30. Are we still seeing that kind of cohort playing out, or is it a mixed bag? And what do you anticipate for the future, coming looking at it from the MACNY side too?
It really has been mixed in ages. I would say people like 20-ish. We don't see a lot of people coming right out of high school, but in their 20s up to um, in their 50s actually. So um, the woman that I spoke about is probably in her 40s and is excited to go to work and is hoping to move on into a registered apprenticeship program. She calls it going to college. She said to me, "You mean I'm not too old to go to college?" And I said, "No, you're never too old to go to college." So she's like really excited to continue and become a registered apprenticeship or a registered apprenticeship, excuse me.
Cool. I just want, because the people that have joined us today and will be listening later are working with all different levels of population ages, you know what I mean? And so
Mhm,
we did run a cohort in the Mohawk Valley with a high school at one
mhm.
point. Remember Franca? That worked really, really well. It was a way to give them some real introduction, but then typically the recruitment process, which we've relied on many of you and others before you on the state advisory to look at how to reach out to population that would never know. I was having dinner with a friend and we were talking about what was coming because the program's coming to the Cap region where I live. And she was like, she actually said to me, she goes, Pat, how would I know about this if I wasn't having dinner with you? And I said, good point. How do we get to John Q. Public, you know what I mean, to let them know more about these kinds of things if they're not, they have kids themselves or they themselves. So I'll be thinking, and I'm hoping you guys can also think about the different ways, because not everybody gets connected to the Workforce Center. Not everybody knows. It is word of mouth that typically helps the John Q. Public person that wouldn't know any different to do something. So if anybody's got any ideas around those kinds of things, even to the point of posting things in public libraries and or at the grocery store. We can't forget that those were the places that things got hung up first before we did all this fancy emails and social media and all that other stuff. Just literally posting flyers in places where people frequent and might be looking for help has to be also what we think about in 2026. So I'll be inviting my colleagues from the regions to think about those kinds of things as well. Randy, I'm giving it back to you.
Oh, I didn't know if, Kay, did you want to talk about the pictures?
Sure. So on the left is a tour that happened in one of our local manufacturers with an advanced apprenticeship. And on the right is actually out of our Onondaga Community College picture, but it's the instructor working with a student just to help show them how to like use tools, how things like go together, things like that. So just some hands-on learning happening in the right. And then to the left on this one again is some hands-on learning and how to use tools, how to think things through to put them together. Working with different parts. And on the right is a group that is learning how to read blueprints. So you can see a little bit of the blueprints there. And I think one of the important things is that they learn these types of basic skills for their employment. And then lastly is our current Real Life Rosies group out of MVCC in Utica. And one of the tours that they went on was to Square One. And so this is the cohort and one of their instructors, Heather. And you can see there was a gentleman that decided to join the group. So while it's designed to help women in manufacturing, once in a while there will be a gentleman that wants to be a Rosie, and of course we're open and accepting of that.
Do you want to speak to this one, Pat?
Sure. Again, I think I sort of highlighted it before, but these are the overall program goals. One of the I've always believed in one of the highest form of flattery is when you borrow something from somebody else and you actually even mimic it. So we purposely want to share this model with all of you. If you are involved with other projects or thinking about designing something else, MACNY would certainly love to, in partnership with Strong, continue to support these kinds of ideas. So here you have enrollment. Then we had at least so we had a 70% participation statewide. Of that, you see, we have 148 of 120 expected to during the pilot. So we advanced beyond that. Our completion, we had at least 75% was our completion goal, and we've had 79% completion to date. Employment, we were promoting 70% employment rate, and again, we are at 79%. And then finally, with a registered apprenticeship goal of 800, and this is not within this project, but the 800 goal is under the Empire Development goal statement. We serve as a pipeline for the signatories, meaning the businesses themselves, the apprentices themselves, the individual sponsors. At least 25% of the pre-apprenticeship must enter a registered apprenticeship program. So that's our new goal. Our original goal, you see, we've met. Now we're getting to the point where we're going to be working with all these other businesses. So we hope you'll continue to support what's going on and help us as a state be able to support and report to the governor that 800 apprenticeships began statewide in a matter of 2.5 years, which is a pretty lofty goal, but we think we can handle it. Right, Kay? As Kay runs around the state.
Yeah, you want to talk about running around the state?
There you go. That was
Sure.
a perfect setup. Look at that. So.
You know, I love to travel too, so it's always good. But yeah, I'm gonna just like peek at my notes over here. So we currently are in the planning stages with our Hudson Valley area, Schenectady Community College and Fulton Montgomery Community College. So those are on the horizon. Trying to get those running this year, or well, 2026, I guess I should say. Looks like Fulton Montgomery Community College will be going in the spring. Capital Region, so they are currently recruiting for their cohort. I think they are looking good for that.
Yep,
down in the southern tier, and you'll see the partners, I think, on a slide coming up. Down the southern tier, they've just finished up their first cohort. Onondaga Community College now has had 2 cohorts this year, and they had 1 last year. Also, one of our expansion areas for MACNY itself, and instead of one of our partners, was up at Cayuga Community College in Fulton. I always want to call that Fulton Community College, but in Fulton, our second cohort up there, and our first cohort down in Auburn at Cayuga Community College. And so, yeah, we continue to look to expand out across the ways, talk about what areas. I know sometimes we talk about maybe something in Watertown coming, but we're really open to, wherever we can bring the program, we want to bring it. So here you'll see our partners that we're working with. So out in Albany, it's the Center for Economic Development, CEG, and then the Council of Industry for the Hudson Valley region. We're working with Brooklyn, Ignite in Long Island. It's the Chamber in Binghamton that has taken the lead on that project. And then Mast in Jamestown, and out in Buffalo. Hopefully in 2026, we'll be out in Buffalo working with the Buffalo Niagara Manufacturing Alliance. And then, of course, our wonderful partners in Rochester being RTMA. Also on the screen are just some of the businesses that we have been working with. So Indium Corporation's been very involved, Anheuser-Busch in Syracuse, Bosch and Lomb. Global Industries is working with the CEG, Nyes, Barilla, Kodak, Saranac in Utica, Moog, Byrne, Plug, Berry, and Baxter. have all been involved in our programs in 2025.
Thank you
Pretty
very
nice.
much. So,
Pretty nice
yeah.
list, right, guys? Pretty nice
Yeah.
list of businesses that are building a workforce that includes women and all walks of abilities. So that's kind of cool.
And we have seen like I mean that's just a little bit of the businesses, right? We've seen a lot more businesses starting to get involved. Um, it obviously it's helping to create another pipeline for them for employment, but it's been nice to see more and more people be involved, and smaller companies as well. So up in Fulton, Universal Metal and Davis Standard, kind of smaller shops up that way, but certainly have been involved in our great asset.
Awesome. So thank you so much for that recap about what's going on in Mohawk and the expansion plan. In October, we were able to celebrate NADIEM, the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And in New York, the great state of New York, we have DREAM, which is all about disability rights in employment. And we were able to participate and do a presentation on advanced to apprenticeship and direct entry pre-apprenticeship opportunities at Dream, which was an awesome time. Shout out to Andy, and I know I've seen Alan there too. And in Rochester, there was a career mentoring day that was hosted by the county that we were able to participate in and promote advanced to apprenticeship, but also get to see how vast government work is. And there are manufacturing and construction and all these different trade opportunities, even within government positions, and making sure that our students we support know that. We took the opportunity to do some webinars. We worked with Rochester Works to do the disability job search group, specifically on apprenticeships. We also were able to host a tour with RTMA for employment support professionals. We have really been working to make sure that job coaches and employment specialists and transition specialists and workforce development coordinators get that inside look of the industries that we are promoting so that they can promote it in a way where the people they support truly understand what's going on. And talking about promotion, we were all over social media and continue to be able to share the news. Pat?
Thanks. And I think I'll keep adding to that a little bit. In November, we actually had the opportunity to present to all of the DRCs, disability resource coordinators, about what was going on with the projects and how we were expanding across the state. So if we're not there yet, we're coming to your neck of the woods. So get ready for us. Franca was able to build us back in 24 a relationship with the continuing education community. And we, once again, this year presented to colleagues at the community colleges conference. There seems to be a conference for everything and a trade association for everything. So if you're in the workforce field, those of you that might be joining new, and I heard Leslie and I believe Jessica, trust me, there's a network that we can connect you to in order to get your word and your programs out if that's what you need to do. We're anticipating, Andy just posted that Dream will be October 14th and 15th. Put it on your calendars, please. Come to Albany. It's the place to be. But we're also looking at here in New York, the APSE, Association of People in Supported Employment, or Employment First, which is what our state is these days. Employment First, totally, is anticipated either this. We're not sure. They're kind of in between spring and fall. I mean, it's going to not happen in the summer. We know that for sure, right, Brandy? But they're still playing with whether they have to do some other things in order to get a place to host everything. But nationally, it is happening in June. So if you have an interest in promoting, you might want to have a sponsorship. Think about those kinds of things. We are bringing to initially the workforce development specialists under MACNY's projects, some programs that talk about sensitivity and disability and understanding differences and how to do training, universal design, all those kinds of things. But we tabled it till 2026 because they were so busy, they couldn't actually get to sit down with us and listen. So instead, we've moved it to January, and we're excited that we're going to be able to invite the workforce specialists that have been hired by the other partners in their expansion of the EDA process. So we'll be having that available if anybody's interested in participating yourselves or some of your staff. Please let Brandy and I know. It's a virtual webinar, so the more the merrier. The anticipation is to actually just assist people who may not be as familiar with how to support and work with people with disabilities in their pursuit to getting a job and having a career. I think that was the antithesis was what Brandy was just talking about, is that we were realizing that the employment specialists themselves in the field of rehabilitation knew nothing about manufacturing, notwithstanding the individuals themselves. They see dark and dank. We've talked about that before, that's all they are. When if you yourselves have never had an opportunity to visit some of the newer manufacturing plants and businesses that are out there, they are magnificent and they are really cool places to work. So we're trying to, in the last 3 months of this project, to basically open up eyes, ears, and awareness in regards to how amazing some of these businesses are, not just in what they do, but also as employers. They are very supportive of their personnel. We are looking to continue the A2A statewide collaborative. That was an idea that Mary Lee had back in the early 25 in regards to, we're not the only game in town. There are other entities around the state that are supporting small and medium-sized businesses like Fuse Hub and the MEP system that bore the stuff that happens at Mohawk Valley Community College in a big way. So, and then other kinds of entities like Uniquely Abled, a little tiny project in Rochester that's supporting individuals from their communities to think about manufacturing. So quarterly, we've been bringing people together, entities that are looking at the world of manufacturing as a pathway to success, and inviting them to tell each of us, all of us, what we're up to so that we can support each other as we continue to build a pathway for success in manufacturing. So again, to all of you, if you know of other entities that we should invite, NTID, which is with the University of Rochester and serves people who are deaf, hard of hearing. They are working very closely with a bunch of different businesses out there. So they're part of the collaborative. So it doesn't have to be that you're just a manufacturing company, or it's a program supporting all the way around. We'd love to expand that. And then I spoke a little bit already about presentations. But as any good project, we do have to do an evaluation. Brandy, if you want to let people know what we have to do and they can look forward to as advisors on the state level as to what might play out.
Absolutely. So yes, we're working with that external evaluator to put together our last and final evaluation for this 5-year project for the Council on Developmental Disabilities. We will be rounding back with you all as advisors to get your information and your opinions on how this process has gone, what challenges you've seen, what really solutions we've seen together. And we're going to, interview our past students as well as current students to just get the best synopsis of our program in a flash and where it is to grow. So that is our presentation for today. We have our question slide, but ultimately I want to put this one up to make sure if you all want to reach out to anyone, you have that contact information. If you want to forget about this slide and just contact me, I will direct you in the right direction as well. Any questions?
Brandy, you're going to distribute the recording to the whole group?
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to share it with a couple
Yes.
folks on my team. I have two new team
Awesome.
members that you might hear about at some point. Well, you most certainly will. Whitney Malone is our new Employment First Business Liaison, and I'm probably going to have her connect with this group. And we also have a new Chief Data Strategist. That's Elizabeth Fisher. I'm not sure that she'll have much intersection with this crew, but you'll see her in general eFirst stuff.
Well,
Awesome. We welcome her.
Elizabeth might be interested once the evaluation is done, though, to kind of take a peek at it, or if she's got some ideas in regards to things that the state is interested in knowing. I think, we've still got some room for design. So I just didn't want to lose that.
Of course. Yeah.
She,
Yeah, I'm not keeping her secret.
No,
but I
but
might
I'm
have
just
a
saying
short list of things for her to start with. Absolutely, Pat.
I think so. I think so. But I'm just saying I had the opportunity during the dream dinner to actually meet
Oh,
Elizabeth.
good.
Oh my gosh, talent deep. Oh, for a young
I know.
person, very, very well knows her stuff. So that's why
Oh, yeah.
I'm not letting you keep her by your side because I think this is
Oh,
a
you think
project
so,
that
Pat?
yeah. So I
No, I
also
look
want
forward to it.
and then your job person too, because we did connect as well during the last meeting.
Yeah.
We've got a thing set up now to work with the IESs, the individual employment specialists,
Yep.
independent employment specialists of the VR offices are going to also have a presentation about this project to help them see what businesses have been engaged throughout the process, and then invite them to be connected and see how we can support the regions because this is at a statewide level, but it's the
Yep.
regional approach that's going to make the difference. And if we always have said do it together. Thank you, Michelle, for joining too, because OPWD has been watching all of this in regards to how they might connect with ETP, the Employment and Training Program, the specialized vocational training funds that just been re-released too. I would love to explore with you guys whether or not there's a way to add manufacturing to that list in regards to playing that out using what you've just seen as the layout. So it's a new world, and we're not getting any more funding, I think, from the Washington side of things. So we've got to all work better with the dollars and the senses and the things that we've got. So excited that the Manufacturing Association has taken the lead and will continue. I mean, we're CDD is in there for the last 3 months, but it's in the support model. And Kay and Colleen and her team from MACNY on a statewide level are going to continue. We've been doing it anyway, but now we're going to do it with gusto beyond that. So feel free to ask us questions, and I'm going to shush right now and see if there's anybody has any thoughts moving into the new year. Things that you want to have happen. Have we brought you enough information to make it worth your while to keep coming to be advisors? All right. You know where we're at. Send us emails if you need anything. Thank you again, Franca, for all your work this year and the team there, Teresa and everybody at Mohawk Valley. So, Brandy, take us home.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for our Advanced to Apprenticeship State Advisory Committee meeting. Have a great rest of your day, a wonderful rest of the year, and a very happy new year. See you all in 2026.
Have a wonderful holiday.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.